Good morning. It's about 10 after 7 a.m. on July the 15th, 2020. It's going to be a quick video by Covert Radio. I really do hope you guys have a good day today. However you're listening to this, probably would sound way better in your car. Yeah, there's a lot of low end of that. I am a bass junkie. I've always been. Alrighty, so papers, please. Papers, please. Papers, please. Several months ago, when this all started, I said that what's going to happen, they're going to do Soviet-style, Nazi-style checkpoints. And once there's UN military on the streets, mind you, this is before George Floyd. Look at my channel. I look at the channel. April, March, April. I'm talking about this. George Floyd was what, at the end of May? Long before George Floyd, I was talking. In fact, I've talked about this for years. Military on the street. We're being surrounded by military. The overthrow of America. They want us to kill each other so that the rest of the world doesn't turn this into a humanitarian effort. Like Jericho. I've also told you guys, and it's on Netflix right now, which if you want a nice piece of information, I'm going to actually include this in the next video of today. Nick Cannon got his hand slapped and his face slapped, and you're going to learn. You're going to learn, boy. We run this shit, right? Nick Cannon just lost his entire career. And it's all because of anti-Semitism, right? Is that white supremacy? No, it isn't. See, this is tribal warfare, ladies and gentlemen. This is tribal warfare. It always has been tribal warfare. It's always going to be tribal warfare. And I just had this conversation the other night, last night or the night before last, of a mother of a biracial son. And, there's now these interviews are coming out and these how-tos written by white liberals of how to talk to your white parents about what's going on right now. If you raised your children, you wouldn't be having this talk. You wouldn't need to have it right now. I don't want to get sidetracked here. I want to make this quick. But I said that if the entire world was one race, one mix, all biracial, just say black and white, which it isn't. That isn't what the world is. And forever till the end of this planet and it's flooded again and the game is going to start all over again, Earth, version 19, the game's going to play another 800,000, 2,000 years, maybe this group will make it to 3,000 years before we have to flood it and start all over again. In my book, Alien Game of Chess, I talk about this being a game for rich. It's a joke. It's tongue in cheek, but Earth, the game, is actually for like rich alien kids. And you know how like on, we play these games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff. And you can have a corporation and you can have a building. I don't know. I've never played it, but I've watched people in the sector play it. They're driving vehicles and they must have a business. They're walking into some huge office building, and they sit at their big desk, and, where there's people that work for them and stuff. Okay, imagine that on God level, where you have activated groups of people. There is an alien group of people that own the pharmaceutical industries. There's an alien group of people that they're more militant, military related. There's the peacemakers, the hippie aliens. Like, this is it. And then you group up, you clan up, okay? And you play the game. It's for them. And they can send thoughts and influence and, whatever. It's by my book. It's not published yet, but you'll be the first to know once it's done. But even if it just wasn't black and white, there would still be other races of people on this planet. I've said this 100 times. You can line every single person up that represents a tribe on this planet, and you can 100% identify you're Asian, you're Middle Eastern, Hindu or Indian, you're white, you're black, you're a Jew, you look South American, Mexican, Indian, Native American. Just there's about 8 or 10 distinctive races on this planet. Is that a black and white problem? No. Is black and white people coming together going to fix that? No. Is there always going to be tribal issues? Yes. And even if, like I said, everybody on the planet was one race. My grandma said to your grandma, or my grandma next to your grandma. Okay, they're sitting by the fire. My grandma says to your grandma, I'm going to set your flag on fire. Talking about, hey now. Right? Aiko, ane. Jackie Mapino, hey. Jackie Mapino, hey. Hi, yo. My flag boy and your flag boy. Okay, the flag boys can be the same color, same race, same everything. But there's always going to be one flag boy that's going to burn down and destroy another flag boy's flag. It's never going to end. And it's constantly reinforced. Football, wrestling. I've said this the other day. It's never going to stop. But the beauty of what's happening right now is now the tribes are really separating right now. We're really seeing who's who. The tribe in Israel is unable to continue to scapegoat the white European race at this point. The white Christians, they're unable to continue to scapegoat them. The cards are falling. They can't stop the deck. This is 52 pickup. And it's showing. Now, what's his name didn't say, Nick Cannon didn't say anything about white racism, white supremacy. What did he say? We're going to get into that next video. And he's gone. His contract's done. His career's done. He's forever gone. Never will work in his industry again. Was it worth it, Nick? And I think, never mind. I'm going to explain all this in the next video. Please. And here's the new rule if you're a new listener, because there's a few new people coming aboard. Listen for 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. And if you like what you hear, give me 5 more minutes. And if you like what you hear, give me 5 more minutes, okay? Your papers, please. Papers, please. Back in March, April, I talked about this. I said once the military's on the street, they're going to be asking for your immunity papers. Your immunity papers. It's no different than what the Nazis did, the Stasi did, the Russians. It's no different. It's no different. Their tribe is flexing. They want dominance. They want control. If you look on the screen there, the top rows of pictures are the Ordnungspolizei. The Ordnungspolizei. That's who this is right here. That's the Ordnungspolizei. Him, the These are all back in the 30s, 40s, late 20s, mid 30s, up through the early 40s. Basically, military police. And then, once the Nazis came into power, they were folded in. And they became the Third Reich. They were, some of these guys became stormtroopers. Some of them became, whatever. But you look down here, it says, we're going to need to see some ID. These are the new Ordnungspolizei, but now these guys are gone. And we're going back to military. History repeats itself over and over and over again. Checkpoints right here. Stop, inconvenience, stop, inconvenience, right here. If history is repeating this much of itself, then why wouldn't it continue to escalate? Because the Ordnungspolizei, the Orpos is what they were called, again, that turned into the Nazis, they were committing genocide. Millions and millions and millions of people were killed. And how were they killed? They were starved to death. Back in those days, there was no Walmart, there was no corner market, there was no bodega. You had potatoes in the ground and whatever spices and anything, fruits that you could trade, and it was all seasonal. When they went into the Soviet Union, when the Nazis, the Germans went into the Soviet Union under Operation Barbarossa, they literally devastated millions and millions and millions of people. Some of these guys were turned into the Weimar security divisions, and they just committed mass murder. It's just unbelievable, and it wasn't that long ago. Again, 1940s. What is going to happen when there's UN troops that are actually there's military on our streets right now, except the UN is coming next, and these people, there's no constitution. They don't have to follow anything except the orders. Bill Gates even said it a month or back in, what was this, April.
Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world where you'll have some countries that won't have it under control. Sadly, you don't want to completely block off.
I can't listen to this demon Satanist. I won't listen to him. He's not elected. He's mentally ill, and him and his wife are Satanists. We're going to have no parts of Bill Gates. We will not comply. I'm not getting your soul-altering, mind-altering vaccine. I'm not doing it. And I know there are millions of people that aren't going to do it either. But we have to start standing up right now. Because what they're doing, again, is called shock and awe. Shock and awe. Which is a military... I say that all the time. And I've been saying that for years. It's a military operation. And like I said, I say it all the time. Maybe a lot of you guys don't know what that means. It's a tactic. And what it is, it's exactly what it says. Shock and awe. It's the use of overwhelming power and massive displays of force. Like the rioters walking down in the streets, and who was it? What is it? The Art of War. Sun Tzu. A lot of his writings talk about overwhelming power. If you don't have a big military, line everybody up single file, because then you look massive. But it's all about perception. They call it optics. It's all about the optics. The display of overwhelming power, like the big parades they have in these communist countries like China and North Korea, where tens of thousands of people are goose stepping right down the middle, and everything's shut down, and everybody's waving their little North Korean flags, and there's 10 tanks and 10 this and 10 that and 1,000 soldiers and 10 tanks and 10 whatever, and then 500 women. So like, it's just a display of overwhelming power. The reality is they're starving to death, and it's painted rust, but it's the perception. It's the perception. And what it's meant to do, just like pornography being a weapon, it is meant to destroy people's will to fight. Because they think they're outnumbered, they think they're outclassed, they think they're going to be outsmarted. But I'm telling you something, we literally have nothing left to lose. If you could understand what's coming, this is right now, you think it's inconvenient, like you literally have no, when there's no food, you're going to start to understand what's happening, because then there is no internet by that time. And you'll have sporadic power. Your power may be on for 2 or 3 days and then off. Until people comply with getting these soul-crushing vaccines, your chip, your tracking chip, that's why they're starting to normalize words like tracing, contact, tracking. They've normalized all this. This is Big Brother. This has been in the works for decades. Okay? These states still require travelers to self-quarantine or present negative COVID-19 test. Updated at 2:58 p.m. on July the 14th, 2020. This is USA Today talking about mind control, trauma, shock and awe, mind control, numbers that don't matter for nothing. This is the flu. And just more shock and awe, more fake numbers, more false positives, more draconian tyrannical rules. Okay? Do not gather. This is all mind control. Social distancing, graphs, and who... Oh, man, look, they must know what they're talking about. They have a graph. So that tells me that some scientist had to sit down and figure this out. For the stupid people that still really know nobody that has COVID-19, that hasn't buried anybody, really. I got the COVID radio, my uncle said it. Really? Because my uncle, who smoked about 3 packs of cigarettes a day for close to 50 years. Marlboro Reds, got diagnosed with COVID-19. He was out of the hospital within 3 days. And there's plenty of people going around to the hospitals. There's people coming out talking about it's all fake. Look into Dr. Rashid Buttar. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are coming out, professional scientists and doctors, because now they're starting to understand what this is really about. This is about bringing people to their knees. This has nothing to do with protecting you. This has nothing to do with a virus. This is about control and submission so that we can move to the next step. They don't have to declare martial law because we've willingly locked ourselves in our own houses. And I showed you in a last video or so what they're doing in Australia. New York, to out-of-state travelers, provide contact information or face a $2,000 fine. July 13th, 2020. Okay, so then within a month or so, New York, to out-of-state travelers, you must provide blood samples and DNA or face imprisonment. And then another month or two after that, New York, to out-of-state travelers, you must provide your left arm so that your right hand so you can have a chip installed in it, or face imprisonment into a FEMA camp for expedient execution. This is where it's going. This is where it's going. This is written, it's planned, it's been written, it's been planned. And the people that don't comply with this will be taken. The problem is, I don't really believe that there's enough people to make this system work. Because I seriously, in my heart, believe there are millions and millions and millions and millions of people around the world that instinctively know that this is evil. They instinctively know that there's no going back. Something is wrong. But people are paralyzed with fear because of shock and awe. This is a psychological war more than anything. You know, just speaking about the police asking you for your papers, please, your immunization papers, and then they'll eventually be standing there with little scanners. Doot, doot. Okay, he's good. You know, I showed you guys in that one video how the tracing app works. Well, I want you to check this out when you have time. You may have not seen it. I have another channel. It's Covert Radio Mess Hall. I did this video on October the 31st of 2016. So within about a month, it'll be 4 years old. To all preppers, you have been fooled. Your last warning, hide your food now, and I'll tell you why. In this video, which has close to 200,000 views, I say, ever wonder why the whole prepper wave started several years ago? Shows like Doomsday Preppers and others have conditioned us to be prepared. Walmart selling survival buckets of freeze-dried food? Well, history tells us the real reason. The real reason we've been encouraged to prep. And the real reason is to feed an invading army. Because when these guys are every corner, every 2 to 3 corners, you know, just like with Operation Barbarossa, the reason they killed millions of people wasn't because they slit their throat, even though the Stasi did that in Croatia. They made a special leather-strapped small 4-inch blade, curved, so for expedient cutting people's throats. They strapped it to their hands, so within, you know, a half hour of slitting throats and throwing people in a ditch, they couldn't hold on to the knife anymore. Look up the Stasi and the leather strap custom knives they made for expedient extermination. Listen, these people starved because as the Nazis moved towards deeper into Russia, they pillaged, which is against you know, the rules of war, the Geneva Convention. Non-combatants are supposed to be left alone. Women and children are supposed to be left alone. But when you're dealing with a tribe of soulless people, there are no rules. There's no rules in this. There's supposed to be, but there really isn't. And I'm not willing to test to see if somebody has morality or can be trusted. But anyway, as they move deeper, 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 they hit winter. Boom. People had food stocked up in their little houses, their barns, whatever. They just said, we're going to take your food. You do what you got to do, or we'll just kill you right now. And they killed millions of people through starvation because they moved quicker, 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 because what the Russians were doing is shutting down supply lines. These people were smart. They said, well, in 10 years, when we're ready to do this in America, we'll just start this whole thing. They're fat consumers anyway. They'll buy whatever we tell them to. And then we won't have to worry about supply lines. There'll be, Berkey water filters. You can drink any water around you. Every third house will have, canned food and freeze dry. I mean, you'll never have to leave the street. Sleep in any house you want after they're dead and burning in the middle of the street where all the bodies are piled up. That's what keeps the soldiers warm at night. And sleep in any house you want. Keep whatever women and children you want around. And then every third, maybe second, third, fourth house will have prepper foods. They'll have plenty of guns, ammunition. You know what I mean? We've been trained to feed an invading army. We need to stop this right now and stand up right now. And from now on, every video I'm putting Alexander Solzhenitsyn's writings about the Gulag. What if we woulda, coulda, shoulda? And I'm going to make a call to every doctor that's out there and scientist that if you know what's really happening, it's time to just stand up and start speaking out, because what's about to happen is irreversible. And they're destroying humanity. These people are evil. I'm Covert Radio. I have a few more videos coming up for today. You guys take care. Have a good day.